All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little San Francisco 49er video. A couple conflicting reports on this Sunday about Brandon Aiyuk. If you listen to Ian Rappaport on the NFL Network, he is suggesting that the 49ers are likely to sit down with Aiyuk sometime after the free agent period and hammer out a new contract. But see, here is the rub, and here's why this is a problem. But first, before we talk about it, let's tell you about Pig and a Pickle. They've got two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. Go say hi to Damon and Mary and tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. We're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, marinautoglass.com, and Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania, 831-521-5264. All right, as I said, some conflicting reports on Brandon Aiyuk. Ian Rappaport has stated that 49ers are going to wait till after the free agent period has gone on, and then they're going to try to negotiate a deal for Brandon Aiyuk, a long-term deal that would keep him with the Niners into the future. So when you hear that on the surface, you're like, all right, sounds good. Aiyuk's probably coming back. But then you got to realize, man, there's some guys out there that may reset the wide receiver market, including guys like Justin Jefferson. And there's a chance that the free agent market expands and goes out of control. And Aiyuk is asking for money that is beyond what the Niners have allotted for him. And then what? Then what are they going to do? Are they just gonna pay him and work it out down the road, which they could do, or they could move him. And Dan Graziano of ESPN has kind of a conflicting report. He says the 49ers would like to get Brandon Aiyuk's contract extended, but he's also a trade candidate if they can't get something done. And you sit there and you say, well, what is it? Are they going to get it done? Are they not going to get it done? Do they want him on the team? Do they not want him on the team? There's a bunch of factors here. One, they've already paid Deebo Samuel. Juwan Jennings is a restricted free agent and was arguably the Niners Super Bowl MVP. Aiyuk only caught 3 balls in each of the 3 playoff games this year. He's probably going to command money north of $25 million, which is going to mean the 49ers are going to be committing over $50 million to 2 wide receivers before they even get to Jennings. So, and then you look at the draft. Every single year that goes by, there are more and more wide receivers in the draft. I think this is like 4 years in a row now that the draft is littered with guys who can flat out play. I mean, I was looking at a mock draft this morning. They have Marvin Harrison going 2nd, Malik Neighbors going 8 from LSU, Rome Odunze from Washington going 9th, Keon Coleman from Florida State, who's got a huge catch radius, going 24th, Brian Thomas from LSU, who's an amazing talent at 6'4", 205 pounds, great speed. They have him going 25th. They have Ladd McConkey going 31, which would mean he would be a Niner, and Troy Franklin going 32. So they have 7 wide receivers in the first round. But then listen to these second-round wide receivers. Adonai Mitchell from Texas, Xavier Worthy, who just ran 4.21 and set the combine record for 40 time at Texas. He just did that over the weekend in Indy. They have him going 51. Devontae Walker from North Carolina is a speedster. He's going 54. Jalen Polk, 56. Ricky Pearsall from Florida is a damn good receiver from the Gators. They have him going 60. That's also round 2, I should say. Roman Wilson from Michigan going 61. I mean, Xavier Legette going 72 at 6'3", 230. And he ran incredibly well. And it doesn't end there. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son, going 75. Johnny Wilson, who's about 6'7", 240 from Florida State, going 101. Jamari Thrash, Jermaine Burton, Jalen McMillan. A lot of people think Malachi Corley is a Deebo Samuel clone. There's McCaffrey's brother, who ran faster than Christian did. They have him listed at 158. Isaiah Williams from Illinois, Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint from Georgia. These guys can all play. Zachary Franklin from Ole Miss is a good player. Bub Means, who the Niners have looked at from Pittsburgh, speedster at 6'2", 215 pounds. They have him going 294, which means after the draft. So there's Ryan Flournoy from Southeast Missouri State can run. There's just a lot of intriguing receivers, and that's not even all of them. That's just the outside receivers. If you look at the slot receivers, Malik Washington from Virginia was about as productive as any wide receiver in all of college football this year. Aeneas Smith from A&M is a big time playmaker. Jacob Cowing from Arizona ran a great 40 time. Taj Washington from USC, tremendous route runner. Anthony Gould from Oregon State's a burner. I mean, there's a lot of guys here that can absolutely play, and even some sleeper guys like Tyler Harrell from Miami, who played at Louisville, I think, to finish. He's a burner. I mean, really fast. Jaquan Burton from Florida Atlantic, another guy who's a burner. My point is, there's a ton of wide receivers, a lot of receivers, and there were a lot of receivers last year, and there's a lot of receivers in free agency. And the 49ers badly need an offensive tackle. And I think they probably have a set budget for Brandon Aiyuk that they don't want to exceed. So I'm not sure what to believe at this point. Do you believe the very positive Ian Rappaport report that the Niners are committed to getting it done and that they're going to sign Aiyuk and they're just going to wait until after free agency to let the market clarify itself, and then they're going to bring him back, and with the increase in the cap, he's coming back? Or do you look at it like, you know what? The free agent market is going to reset itself, and Aiyuk's going to command a huge dollar figure, and he's going to price himself out of what the 49ers can do, and they're going to wind up trading him. He was an all-pro wide receiver, so there will be a big market for Brandon Aiyuk. Who's going to want him? It's a little difficult to project at this point. I think there's a chance that the New York Giants, who picked 6th overall, they would like a wide receiver. I think there's a chance that they could be interested. I think the Raiders, who picked 13, very much could want a wide receiver. They absolutely could be in the mix for him. The Houston Texans, who pick at 23, they have Tank Dell and they have Nico Collins. There's a lot of talk that they want another wide receiver. They could be in play. If Buffalo moves Stephon Diggs, maybe they're in play. The Chiefs at the end of the first round are definitely looking for an offensive line or a offensive weapon that's ready to roll right now. And I don't think they want to, coach anybody up. They could have a lot of interest in Aiyuk. So when you're an all-pro wide receiver and you're as good as Brandon Aiyuk, you're going to get paid. And if you don't get paid, you're going to be worth something in trade that's significant, like a first-round pick and then some. So the 49ers are going to have to figure this out. It's going to be really interesting. To me, this is the drama of the offseason, especially when you look at every year in the last 3 or 4, it's been a deep, every year it's been a deeper wide receiver class than the previous year. So you're seeing tons of wide receivers. They've already committed to Debo. They want to re-sign Juwan. Can they re-sign all those guys? Or is somebody going to have to go? And then what is going to be the ask for Aiyuk's camp? They seemed very hardline in their approach to they're moving on. So maybe they've already exchanged figures and they're far apart. So I'd love to see Aiyuk come back because I think he's their best receiver long term. But I also look at the depth at wide receiver in the draft and free agency and say, you know what? How are they ever going to get an offensive tackle if they can't get a pick in the top 20 and utilize it on a tackle? You get a mid-first round pick and you get J.C. Latham, you might be able to go J.C. Latham in the middle of the first round and Brian Thomas or Xavier Legette at 31. And you know what? J.C. Latham and Xavier Legette may be a better situation than just re-signing Aiyuk. So there's a lot to chew on there for sure. But Brandon Aiyuk, according to Dan Graziano, the Niners would like to get an extension done, but he's also a trade candidate if they can. Ian Rappaport says they'd like to get something done after the free agent market reveals itself in the month of March, and he makes no mention of a trade. But when you look at who the Niners are looking at offensive lineman wise, they're looking at offensive linemen. They're going to go in the top 15, and they don't have a pick in the top 15. And Aiyuk is probably the only asset that they have that would get them that pick. So it makes you wonder. Don't listen to what teams say. Watch what they do. The 49ers are saying all the right things. They're saying, hey, we want Aiyuk. We love Aiyuk. We respect Aiyuk. He's one of us. We want him long term. They're saying all the right things. But while they're saying that, they're also meeting with Talieisi Fuaga. They're also meeting with J.C. Latham. They're also meeting with offensive linemen that are sure to be gone by 17 or 18, and they don't pick till 31. So I think they're covering themselves just in case the wide receiver market explodes and Aiyuk's ask is, in their minds, unreasonable. I don't believe they will hesitate to pivot to an Aiyuk trade and look for a wide receiver in the draft, especially if they feel like, we'd like Luke McCaffrey. We'd like Brendan Rice. You might see them go off wide receiver in the second or third round or later. Or they may go wide receiver twice and trade Aiyuk. So a lot of options here in early March for the 49ers. But I think it's safe to say we don't know if Aiyuk's going to be a Niner or not. And but the Niners are clearly, with who they're meeting with and how they're going about their business in the offseason, are clearly open to more than one outcome. All right. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.